Morning again folks, VFR Mitch here. Right then, we're just pulled over somewhere nice and safe. Nice country road. Well, it's not a country road actually. It's a little path, little byway I think. Very muddy. You'll see when I show you on the bike. Bit of mud on there. Had a bit of a scary moment to be fair. These tyres are no good in mud. Not supposed to be, but it's a bit of a pig of a bike to be lifting out of ditches, which I nearly had to do. Right then, we're here to have a look at some accessories on my bike, and let's go ahead and do that. Right folks, some of the accessories on my bike. We've got the luggage or pannier sticker sets. Makes it stand out a little bit. The boxes are like a plasticky aluminium finish. I will go into that in another video and show the panniers and how they attach to the bike, which is quite neat. We have some resin gel frame protectors down there. We've got some Power Bronze bobbins. They're very useful. I wish I'd have had those on before I put them on. That's another story. We've got some Power Bronze hand guards. They're much better than the Honda ones. The Honda ones were okay, but these block out a lot more wind. Brilliant. We've got some R&G crash bobbins on the end of there. The mirrors aren't stock mirrors. Hello. Those are actually Aprilia Tuono mirrors. I got those for my 2012 V-Strom because the V-Strom had mirrors like barn doors. They were shite. The wind that got channeled off those mirrors into your head was ridiculous. It's one of the things which I've basically carried through to this. That and the fact that the bike has had a 0 miles an hour fall onto its side, which knackered one of the mirrors and the handguard, hence the new handguards and the mirror. Not much other damage was done to be fair, apart from the exhaust, which I knackered, and we've got a new exhaust. We'll be coming onto the exhaust shortly. We've also got gel insert there on the brake fluid reservoir. Action camera. We've got Garmin 390 LM Zumo sat-nav unit that was bought for me for a present. Just clips on and off the bike. Simple as that. That is really easy, and it's a really good sat-nav. The LM on the end of the part number denotes lifetime maps. I can't fault it. It works well with gloves on. It's rugged, waterproof. Supposed to be like a petrol oil resistant screen. It's sunlight anti-glare. Yeah, it's good to be fair. It's got like speed cameras in it and everything like that. Can give you a bit of advance warning if you're going through an area with loads of speed cameras. I use it every now and again. It's really good. It's not lockable. I know the ones you see on like the BMs and things like that are in a lockable case, but I think the case is about 120 quid. And I'm a tight Yorkshire one, so it's a case of if I stop anywhere, I'll just unclip it off the bike, stick it in a little case, put it in my top box. I'm not for leaving technology out on display because some screw will have it, even if it's locked in. Your bare hands are a screwdriver, you better tear it off, I'm sure of it. Right, going through to the front of the bike. Now that's where this camera normally resides, on the front of my GV Airflow. Today, when it's not being used to video this, it has been on the front of my helmet because I'm trying it as a vlogging camera as well. So that's the original DJI Osmo case with an aftermarket clamp bolted to the front of the bike. The windscreen is a Givi Airflow, which is adjustable. It's got something like, off the top of my head, 12 centimeters of adjustment between minimum and maximum. You can also remove the top half of the screen and leave a small screen there for summer if it's red hot. We've got a Pyramid Plastics fender extender down there. That's held on with loads of double-sided 3M sticky pads and a couple of plastic rivets. As you can see, the bike's a bit messy. It's got some Honda engine bars with the Honda original spotlights on it. They're really bright, them buggers, really bright. It's got SW Motec bar risers. They're, just go around this side, you can see it a little bit better I think. They're about 20mm rise. They make a big difference for if you're tall and you've got a bad back like me. You don't want to be bending forward too much. It just helps you sit a little more upright. I really rate those. Moving towards the back of the bike, we've got the Honda luggage, 3-piece Honda luggage, panniers. We've got a gel Touartex seat cushion, because the seats on these cross tourers are like church benches, they're rock hard. You get a numb backside after a very short period of time. A lot of people have the seats remodelled. I do live fairly close to Tony Archer, who's a god in remodelling bike seats, so at some point if I decide to keep this bike for a long time, then I would get the seat remodelled by Tony Archer. But for now, the gel pad's actually doing a very good job of things. 2 or 3 hours in the seat, it's not really a problem. Now, hiding behind the pannier is some goodness. That's a Leo Vince Evo 1 carbon exhaust. Now, I'll do a little sound test on that shortly. I will have to remove the panniers, and that's the Ghost Drift on the back. You see it there, just tucked under. Works quite nicely. Yeah, she's going to need a clean, I think. Right then, let's have a look at this Honda luggage, shall we? It came with the bike, the Highlander model. The panniers, 3-piece luggage set, costs about 1,500 quid. Now, it's a lot of money. It is only plastic as well. It's like a brushed aluminium finish. They're very high quality, don't leak, fit well on the bike, and they don't need the scaffolding like you need for like some of the Givi luggage, the Trekker, the Outbacks, things like that, where you need the Monarchy or Monorack type systems and all the scaffolding on there. The Honda setup's quite neat and it's built into the bike. I'll remove the pannier now and show you. Key in the top. Catch on top. Lift off. Simple as that. You can now see the a nice little exhaust, which we'll get to. The obviously left hand pannier is the same, and the top box, put the key in, flick a latch, and it actually comes off by pushing it forward toward the front of the bike. Bit of a safety feature. So if your pannier is leaning up against that box will not come off backwards. Trust me. When I first tried taking it off, I tried pulling it off backwards like some of the Givi ones. The bike was rocking all over the place, and it's solid. There is no way that case will come off the bike backwards. It has to be pushed forwards, which is a good safety feature. Now, the way the pannier fastens into the bike is it's got a little indent there, and attached to the exhaust hanger bracket and foot peg bracket is a little rubber bung which sits into the front of the pannier, so they do fit very nicely indeed. I think what we'll do now is do a sound test on the aftermarket Leo Vince exhaust. It's a superb exhaust, love it to bits. Not too loud, gives it a bit of a rumble. Let's give it a go. So there we have it, folks. Leo Vince Evo 1 carbon exhaust sound test. I think it sounds good. Sounds great when you're riding it. Obviously with YouTube videos, most of the videos you do see are people recording it on the mobile phones. I don't think that does justice to the sound. Obviously I'm using a Rode microphone with an action camera. I'm hoping it's doing it some justice and that it sounds good. All that's left for me to do is pack up my equipment, find somewhere to turn around on this road, because I don't fancy going down there. I've been told by passers-by that it's already thick in mud. So there's my Honda VFR 1200X Cross Tourer. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.